Welcome back to LEGO Wars and our 6th International Special. This one is near and dear to my heart as it's this very special that kick-started the series back in 2020, and while the original field has dwindled over the years, a new breed of LEGO bots has filled the gaps and brought up the quality, making this special another hotly contested competition. As with previous years, we've split this event into 3 parts, so without further ado, let's see how the left-hand side of the bracket will line up tonight. First up, it's the defending winners Tantrum, hoping to escape the curse of previous international champs against Bulldog Breed, followed by longtime veterans Deitor taking on disgruntled Guardian. Then it's the first international champs Patunia in the arena against the hyperactive new boys Blue and Panic Attack facing Windblade. Rookies Luchador up next against stalwarts Weldor M, and then it's last year's 4th place finishers Flashover Deitor facing stiff opposition against Whiplash. Before we end tonight's action with the unusual looking Rob testing the luck of another new bot in Foxic and 2 veterans Zoidy Blue and Orby Blade doing battle once more. Let's crack on with Fight 1.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then for our LEGO Wars International Special. Of course, robots representing different countries from around the world, and we start off with our reigning international champions Tantrum taking on Bulldog Breed Sporting Union Jack, obviously representing England. And if you live around England, you might have recognised the decal from Bulldog Breed up your local lamppost. Ugh, I dread to think how that got there. Bulldog Breed taking on Tantrum in the LEGO Wars arena though, and thus far you have to say Tantrum looking pretty good. The former LEGO Wars champions, the current international championship holder, looking very, very good. Early doors, chewing apart the Bulldog. Bulldog Breed will try to get that lifter in underneath and cause an upset here. Tantrum, we know, is prone to a shock. Though so far, I'd say looking pretty good and formidable, Tantrum. The orange peril, the little speed bump in the arena so far, doing a lot of damage to Bulldog Breed, and there goes the Bulldog's face, and now more panels being ripped away from Bulldog Breed, absolutely dishevelled now. And we know that it can take a hit like this, Bulldog Breed, we know that, but the problem is, now, with Bulldog Breed, is there's no protection to the actual structure of the robot. It's going to start becoming a lot more quicker around the arena, but it's just going to start falling apart a lot more easily, and that's no good at all, though Bulldog Breed is being pushed back by Tantrum. Tantrum certainly in the ascendancy here, the international champions so far. Can they become the first repeat international champions? That's what they'll be hoping for. Back-to-back winning. Not something that's a regular occurrence in the LEGO Wars arena, and Tantrum here has stopped. For a second I thought we're going to start to count them down, but not to be at the moment. Bulldog Breed once again taking the good smack to the face. Up goes the weapon on Tantrum and splitting now that flipper mechanism as well on Bulldog Breed. It's now not running along the floor. Absolute destruction in the arena here. Tantrum showing why they're international champions, and look at the chassis of Bulldog Breed. It's just flexing in the breeze and just patting down Tantrum, but look, there's so much carnage on Bulldog Breed. There's nothing left of Bulldog Breed. Absolutely torn apart, but great push there on Tantrum, and there's so much debris around the arena now. Tantrum is in very real risk of getting high centered on some of that debris, and which could leave Bulldog Breed a good opportunity to push them down the pit maybe, but not to be. Slightly higher ground clearance on Bulldog Breed will help him in that regard. We're going to go to time though between Tantrum and Bulldog Breed. I think there is going to only be one winner of this fight, although Bulldog Breed, stout-hearted, takes it the full 3 minutes. A brilliant effort from them. It goes to the judges. Well, Tantrum came out of the blocks firing on all cylinders, showing us just why they're international champions, didn't they? Bulldog Breed ripped apart early doors, armour panels ripped away, flipper panel ripped away as well. No Union Jack left on the breast of British. But as the fight wore on, we saw the old remnants of Tantrum, the thermal cutout happening, and despite Bulldog Breed's attempts to sort of pat them into submission, Tantrum did come back strongly, but it was a little bit of a scare in the end for the reigning champion.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Tantrum. Maybe Bulldog Breed should spend less time up a lamppost, as Tantrum does what only Atlas has done before and wins the first fight of their international title defence. Next up is the grumpy Norwegian's disgruntled Guardian taking on the grinning Cheshire Cat that is Deitor.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Off we go for fight number 2 as Norway and Ireland duke it out. Sounds like a semi-final of the Eurovision Song Contest, but instead it's the LEGO Wars Arena. Deitor representing the Republic of Ireland, or IR, if you're a local, I guess. And Norway being represented by Disgruntled Guardian. And so far, Ireland are in a spot of bother because Deitor has locked up on one side, and that could be that, I think, because they can't get out of their circumference. It's a real shame, but Disgruntled Guardian here might have got the knockout blow immediately onto Deitor, and the Irish eyes are not smiling on the polka dot machine. Disgruntled Guardian pushes them into the corner and smashes that drive pod to pieces. Look at that. We've seen before the power of the Disgruntled Guardian hammer. It's their second appearance in the international specials. Last time around they were knocked out in the round of 16. They're going to make it through to that stage at least once again here as they beat Deitor, the veterans, by pinning them in the corner.
6.
That drive side is all locked up. Disgruntled Guardian, what a performance from them. They go through to the next round. Well done. I'm amazed that editor David has been able to put together an entire 23-second highlight package for this fight, because that was basically the length of the match. Deitor was pushed back into the rear arena wall where they lost one side of drive, and that is where Deitor got stuck. Disgruntled Guardian bullied them and boxed them into the corner before delivering the coup de grace with a big hammer shot to that drive side and the other side for good measure. Disgruntled Guardian go through.
That old drivetrain weakness has come back to bite Deitor as they slip to an early defeat this year, leaving Guardian to face the defending champions in the round of 16. Now it's the OG international champs Patunia taking on the small but nasty looking blue.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Fight number 3 and our second international champion of the night is here. Patunia, of course, winning the very first international championships, taking on a newcomer to the LEGO Wars arena in terms of international specials, Blue, the very first Polish entry entering the arena. And Blue's drum spinner at the front, spin up to speed, turn upside down, loses one of its sort of balancing casters as well, and now spinning in circles madly. Patunia trying to pick their spots here and pick their moment to come in with the crushing arm and the lifting combination. Can they bring that arm up and use the lifter effectively? Yes, they can, and they can grab one of the wheels of Blue. Good driving there by Patunia. Turns Blue back over. Blue up to speed once again, but isn't moving across the arena now. Patunia needs to bring that jaw back to bear once again. Doesn't quite manage it on that occasion. In goes Blue, drives up the front of Patunia, spins back round to the side. Patunia once again trying to get a side-on clasp of Blue. Doesn't get it there. Blue seems to have settled down now. Maybe those nerves have gone away, and more nerves, I think, for the Dutch and Patunia. The very first international winner all the way back have lost one side of drive. A wheel has just come off. Whether that was damage caused earlier on by Blue's weapon, I don't know, or whether it just failed on its own, but Patunia now in all sorts of trouble. Can they somehow grab victory from the jaws of almost certain defeat? Blue seems to be in the ascendancy now. What can they do? Can they finish Patunia off? It'll be a huge scalp for them. Yes, it can be done, because there goes the other wheel. Sniped by the drum of Blue. The early nerves have gone away. They've dissipated, and so has Patunia, the very first international champion, eliminated in the first round, and Blue, the rookies, go through to the round of 16. What a performance from Blue. The Polish entry are through to the next round. Patunia out. What an upset that is, and there goes one of the wheels.
6.
A brilliant little bit of fun and games at the end from Blue. Early on we saw Petunia's experience and know-how come to the fore, using that grabber and lifter combo to cause problems for Blue, but Blue responded in their own time. Eventually that wheel of Patunia coming loose once again, as it has done on more than one occasion in the past. Blue then smelt blood, took the opportunity to get round to the side and smack off the other wheel of Patunia. The former champions out.
They're getting 0 points for control, but Blue did what they needed to do to leave Patunia out early for the second special running. They'll face the winners of our next battle as Olisar bot Windblade faces Panic Attack. Or at least that's what should have happened. So unfortunately during recording for this special, Windblade did not want to spin up, and we'd already gone through all of our reserves at this point, so Panic Attack gets a walkover this round. Sorry about that. In the break between recording sessions, we did get Windblade up and running at least, but you'll have to wait until the heats to find out how that went. Anyway, back to announcer David. After that blink and you'll miss it action, we're on to fight 5 of the night as 2 favourites for the overall crown of Flashover, Deitor and Whiplash square off next.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then for fight number 6. Whiplash straight across the arena trying to get to Flashover Delta's weapon and try and get it stopped immediately. Doesn't get that. Flashover Delta, of course, in the international special last time, making it all the way to the top 4. Lost out there to Mr. Waffle, if you remember back that far. Whiplash representing the USA for the first time in the international special. And they'll be hoping for a decent run here as they take on Flashover Delta and that big spinning wheel. Whiplash, of course, fan favourites from BattleBots and LEGO Wars. However, you have to say, you know, we've seen before the thermal cutout issues that a lot of the field suffer from. They suffer from a lot more than most, so they'll be wanting to try and get this fight done sooner rather than later. Flashover Delta won't mind a war of attrition as long as their weapon keeps working, of course. That has been their Achilles heel in the past when their weapon isn't working. What else does Flashover have? And what else do they have when their wedge is being broken apart by Whiplash like that? You can see one of the sides of the wedge is now shorter than the other and doesn't quite touch the ground. That's going to cost them, especially if the other half of the wedge starts splitting like that too. They need to be careful here, Flashover Delta. That weapon is devastating if they can bring it into bear, but the problem is, the more that wedge gets damaged, the more Whiplash is going to be able to get in underneath and prevent that maximum effectiveness of that weapon coming into play. That could prove crucial should this match go to time. Flashover as well, that weapon spinning away, but the armour at the back looks a little bit bent and buckle, and that's a good attack on Whiplash whilst it's statuesque and suffering from thermal cutter. I mentioned it earlier, it is a robot that suffers from it more than most, and that wheel where Flashover is targeting once again looks a little bit loose to me, and there it goes. Makes a bid for freedom to the centre of the arena, doesn't quite escape our arena. That's why the plastic's there. It's safe from flying debris, although it doesn't always work. I can attest to that. Flashover Delta now once again picking and choosing its spots. It wants to hit Whiplash whilst Whiplash is struggling for drive. Whiplash back into the action once again, trying to get in underneath Flashover. As I said, the war of attrition really does suit Flashover Delta, the German entry. The longer this fight goes on, the more thermal cutout issues we'll see for Whiplash. And I think the stronger Flashover will appear. They're going to try and push Whiplash down the pit, I think. They've got them cornered by the pit. So if they can give a nudge down, they'll do so, and they'll progress through to the round of 16. Although Whiplash is being counted out as things stand, but gets away just in the nick of time. Whiplash, once again, they're stuck in the centre of the arena, and we are going to go to the judges, and that's more damage sustained by Whiplash. The rear panel has been completely busted open, and it's going to go to time. The lasting effect and view of the judges is of Whiplash being broken at the end. Key factor for me here, the longer the fight went on, the stronger Flashover Delta was during the fight. At the initial opening blows, Whiplash was a lot more aggressive, was able to break away a lot of that wedge at the front of Flashover Delta, but the more thermal cutout issues there were, the more damage accrued by Whiplash. A wheel flying off and the back panel at the end being ripped away, I think is decisive.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Flashover Delta. Those gremlins are becoming more prevalent on Whiplash as Flashover deals the heaviest damage on the lifter yet as they move on to face the winners of our next bout as Weldor M gets potentially its last stab at international glory against the Mexican rookies Luchador.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Our second half of the fights for this evening kicks off with a rookie and a veteran, and the veteran starts shedding its armour straight away. Weldor M has been picked up though by Luchador, the Mexican entry in this international special, trying to peel up and lift Weldor off the floor. It's lost its face, the mask, but underneath the mask is a very competent lifting mechanism and a good drive system as well, as we've seen there, lifting up Weldor M, turning Weldor M upside down, and the veteran on its face and seemingly beaten already. One of the wheels pulled away as well by Luchador in that fantastic early attack, and Luchador here looking very, very impressive on debut. The Mexican machine going for it here. Weldor representing Northern Ireland. Not looking so hot right now. Upside down still is Weldor M. Picked up though by Luchador and carried maybe towards the screws. It's bullying at this point from the rookies. And you have to say, Luchador, on the evidence of this, has the potential to be a very disruptive force in LEGO Wars. It has been in the Beetleweight scene in the UK, but so far in LEGO Wars, 10 out of 10 for execution for Luchador. They're trying to get the pit button activated. They're not going to get it. They're circling into light because they know they're through to the next round. And Luchador here on debut, impressing very, very much indeed. Weldor M defeated.
6.
Luchador from Mexico goes through to the round of 16. An impressive by the numbers performance by Luchador. Started off a little bit shakily. They got in underneath fairly early on but lost their face. But second time of asking, there was no mistakes. Over went Weldor, off came the wheel. They tried to get a bit of a carnage and devastation in the arena as well. They were picking Weldor M up and levering them around. In the end, it was an easy win for the rookies.
Some shades of Bricker Brothers breakout performance from the rookies as Luchador dumps Weldor M out of the competition. Next up, it's a pair of rookies of vastly different sizes as Foxic and Rob do battle.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then for our penultimate fight of the night. Rob representing Japan, Foxic representing England in the international special, and Rob trying to swing away with those twin hammers. New robot to LEGO Wars, as is Foxic, one of 2 Team Danby robots in the international special this time. You'll see the later one, but this one is representing England. That's where it was conceived and built. I believe this version of Foxic. I'm sure Craig Danby can correct us if we're wrong. Rob with those twin hammers. Surprisingly effective, actually. Able to rack up aggression points as well by using those weapons in an effective manner. Getting in underneath the lifter of Foxic, and so far proving a very decent control bot as well, Rob. Swinging its hammers. Representing Japan, one of 2 Japanese entries in the international special. We'll see the other one next time out. But so far given a good account of themselves on debut. Rob pinning Foxic against the arena wall and now bringing those hammers down once again. Foxic so far with a bit of headache, I think. So far not really going the way that I thought it would. Foxic looking pretty beaten up at the moment, gets back into the action now. Can they get that lifter in underneath and topple Rob over? It is kind of top heavy, Rob. The centre of gravity isn't exactly the lowest, but so far you'd have to say they're controlling that pretty well and mitigating that with some good, clever tactical driving. And Rob thus far bringing those hammers into blow on top of Foxic, who's definitely suffering with some kind of electrical or mechanical gremlins here because they're not zipping around the arena like I thought they would. So far, I would say Rob is on top, pushing Fox against the arena wall again, and down comes that hammer once again, causing all kinds of internal trauma to Foxic. Rob now circling the robotic operating buddy. It's no buddy to Foxic at the moment, that's for sure. Trying to smash its way through into the next round of the international special, and so far Rob is doing an excellent job of that. More bits and pieces coming off of Foxic and just flailing away with those hammers, doing a brilliant job of keeping aggressive and racking up those points. Rob with the confidence here as well to go for the pit button. I think Foxic is really suffering with, I think, thermal cutout, and we're seeing here that Foxic on their own bow into LEGO Wars is having, well, it's having a Danby, isn't it, really? It's really, the Danby curse was lifted, we thought, when Slammo won LEGO Wars Series 5, but Foxic here is in the wars And we are going to get a time, I think, between these two. Rob swinging its hammers away, and Foxic is getting slowly pushed towards the pit, and they're going to fall down the pit with a second to go. I don't know if they are going to be counted as a knockout or a JD, but I think that is going to be a Rob victory no matter what way you slice it. In 2013, Norwegian comedy duo Ylvis asked, what does the fox say? And in the answer to their question, I don't really have an answer because Foxic wasn't at its best in this fight, that's for sure. Rob, meanwhile, a pleasant surprise. The Japanese entry using its hammers to great effect, smashing Foxic over the dome over and over and over again, before eventually getting them down the pit and getting a KO victory, I can tell you.
Amazingly, it's Rob who dishes out the beatdown on a new Danby Lego bot in a buzzer-beating KO, leaving one spot left to fill on this side of the bracket. Zoidy and Orby are well acquainted in the LEGO Wars arena, having fought in the heats last series. On that occasion, Zoidy showed it can corral the highly fancied horizontal, but one slip-up was enough for the wheels to be hit before a wonderful snipe sent them down the pit. With Zoidy already demoted to just the specials, they'll be out to show they've still got it tonight.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Our final fight of this half of the round of 32 is off and underway, and what on earth is Orby Blade doing there? Trying to throw Zoidy Blue off the scent, perhaps? Representing South Korea, we have Orby Blade. Representing Canada, we have Zoidy Blue. The grabbing arms at the front, trying to get a clasp on Orby Blade. Orby Blade up to speed, spinning its weapon. Can it bring that to bear against the wheels of Zoidy Blue? Zoidy Blue at the moment keeping Orby Blade away with those big jaws at the front. That's a good attack from Orby Blade. Bounces off the wheels though, and Zoidy Blue pretty stout-hearted thus far, using those claws to kind of as sort of keep away sticks on Orby Blade. Orby Blade seems to have settled down now though. Can they swing that weapon around and clobber Zoidy Blue, I wonder? Zoidy Blue with a good attack there though, pinning the weapon of Orby Blade for now, but gets away. Zoidy Blue zipping around the arena, trying to get round to the side once again of Orby Blade, but that weapon of Orby Blade is just so fearsome when it gets up to speed. Pit Brand activated by Zoidy Blue. They must think that is their only way of making it through to the next round of the International Special. Zoidy Blue, of course, in semi-retirement these days, only taking part in the side competitions, not the main LEGO Wars series. So we won't see them in LEGO Wars Series 6. Orby Blade, though, we will see. Doing a pretty good job thus far. Zoidy Blue grabbing hold of Orby Blade, that big spinner at the front of, well, not the front, at the rear of Orby Blade, I should say. Trying to come into play once again. Lovely soft focus camera there. Focusing on the arena wall, not on the action itself. That's more like it. Zoidy Blue trying to get round again to the side of Orby Blade. Driving very well, I have to say, considering, though they're another robot that have historically had issues with thermal cutout. They're doing very well at kind of staying away from that big weapon of Orby Blade. We know how potentially devastating it can be. But in this fight, we've not really seen Orby Blade at their best. That was a good attack there, and there goes one of the wheels. That was the obvious target. And will Orby Blade now just get a good rally together and finish Zoidy Blue off? Can they do it? Zoidy Blue sitting in the centre of the arena, trying to get away now, not trying to go towards the pit because they know they are going to be slightly down on pushing power, although they are caught between a rock and a hard place, aka between Orby Blade and the Pit of Oblivion, the Canadian entry. They are going to hold on for 3 minutes, which is a commendable achievement considering the stature of Orby Blade as a competitive force in LEGO Wars. But that will be, I think, an Orby Blade victory in my mind. I'm not a judge though. We will have to go to our wise panel for a decision. Well, some massive kudos and respect to the Canadian entry Zoidy Blue, once again putting on a stout-hearted performance against one of our elite machines in Orby Blade. But on this occasion, there was only going to be one winner. Zoidy Blue did get a couple of good grapples off, and they did manage to escape the pit kind of cornering they had for a second, but Orby Blade hit blow after blow, eventually ripping off one of the wheels of Zoidy Blue, and I think that could be the decisive edge in this fight.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Orby Blade. They had to work for it, but Orby makes it 3 for 3 and making it past the international first round. It's been a grueling night of fighting in the LEGO Wars arenas. We saw a solid start from Tantrum's title defense and the hyperactive blue sinking Patunia's hopes for another year. But for me, the star of the night has to go to the unorthodox Rob, showing that you can be an expert and stop the thermal issues as they battered Foxic into submission. That's all from us tonight, but join us next time as 16 more bots will take to the arena for the international crown. For now though, I've been your host David Osmeg, and we'll see you in the next one.